A very good morning to all of you. Welcome to today's news analysis. We are doing the Indian Express papers Chandigarh edition, and today is 21st of December 2023. Today I have shared with you a handwritten note on the issues plaguing the education sector. This is a very important topic, and the theme is more on quality of education. In fact, one of the agencies of the United Nations has pointed out that over the years we have been focusing on quantity of education rather than quality of education. That is, universalization of education has taken place. We have created buildings, etc., but quality has been compromised. So this is a very important theme which needs to be prepared. So that I have focused. Besides, yes, we have articles concerning the criminal laws, the telecom bill, and also there is one on K-shaped recovery. With regards to criminal laws and the telecom bill, I am not doing it today. I think we should cover this from the PRS because we will get information in a stratified, organized manner. So that is the reason. Otherwise, we'll keep doing this again and again. No point. So let's get started with the analysis now. So first we have the international section, the world news. Uh, right. So Israel, Gaza violence is again there in the news. So we just a brief update only. Next, we hear about European Union agrees on new rules for hosting migrants, seeks to reduce numbers. Okay. So European Union is an supranational agency for the whole of Europe. So they make the laws, they make the regulations for the whole of Europe. It's a collective organization. Migrants are coming in. More burden is there around the vicinity. For example, Italy, Mediterranean countries, Italy, Greece, Hungary, so those countries. Then more developed nations like UK, etc. Although UK is now not part of the EU. So more burden is being faced on those countries. EU says that we will accept refugees, we will accept migrants, but then it is putting more burden on certain countries. This has led to the rise of far right hyper nationalist political parties, which is not good as far as EU is concerned. Why Europe is concerned? Because previously, if you study about the world wars, it was because of the hyper nationalist tendencies. The idea was to subjugate that and bring in cooperation amongst the Europe. So it has been felt that the more burden is being felt around these countries in the vicinity. So thereby, the cost and the resources should be shared collectively by the EU countries, not by a few, but collectively by all EU countries. And further, they would strive to reduce the number of refugees that are coming in. Okay. Next, we hear about the US, the UAE, this thing has drafting a resolution with regards to giving aid delivery to Gaza. And they don't want US to veto, and thereby more deliberations are going on so that it is drafted in a better way so that US does not object. Sri Lanka bans foreign research ships amid Chinese requests. I'll make this simple. Sri Lanka, India, right? It's the Chinese are requesting that they should have these exploration vessels. For example, previously there was this Chinese exploration vessel ship known as Yuan Wang, which was to track ballistic missile and ship tracking ship. So this Chinese ship was to be in Hambantota. Right. So this was to be in Hambantota, I've wrongly marked over here. And thereby India was concerned because this could be used for spying activities. So Lanka bans foreign research ships. It's basically a reference to China. And because of protest by India and other countries. India is particularly because India is concerned with the greater presence of China in Chinese in the Indian Ocean region, more so in India's vicinity. Okay. Astronomers say even the cosmos is wishing you happy holidays. So they have basically observed from the James Webb Space Telescope. As the name suggests, it is a telescope in the space. James Webb, and it is a project of the NASA. So they have observed Christmas tree galaxy cluster. I don't know how it looks like Christmas tree, but Christmas tree galaxy cluster, which is 4.3 billion light years from Earth. So that they have seen. This has been it's so such a far distance. So they have been able to do so with the help of gravitational lensing. Right. So that's it from this news. Now moving on to the actual front page. So one is the criminal law bill, the three bills that were there. A greater analysis is actually given in the somewhere in the middle. I think page 11 it is given. So briefly, terror has been included into the criminal law bills, which was the IPC. So in that it has been done. Previously we were having separate bills. Then lynching has been added. Right. So like that, more reforms have been done. Okay. Now with regards to US-India relations, previously, we US made a complaint with the Indian side that an attempt has been made to kill a US citizen, the Khalistani leader, and thereby some tensions have been brewing between the two nations. Previously, it was with Canada also. Right, so they're saying that the things will be sorted out. It will not affect the larger picture, the larger India-US relationship. Okay. In big push to AI, Center to step up compute capacity offers free services to startups. What is happening? So there is this AI mission of the government, artificial intelligence mission of the central government. So they want to create a sovereign AI, maybe an open source setup uh, by involving the private sector, right? So an indigenous setup which can be used for the welfare and the well-being of the Indians, which is available to the Indians collectively utilizing the resources, so that can be done. And for that, of course, the research side is a bit weak. The government will contribute the resources, and the private sectors will work together. So it is a capacity building exercise both with the government and through public private partnership model. They want AI to be a crucial economic driver, and there should be something specific to India should be there. So, and government wants to invite the private sector in this endeavor by offering incentives, compute as a service, facility, etc. So we have to prepare AI mission also. Punjab sugarcane farmers to get 391 per quintal. How does this happen? If you remember, the sugar prices, sugar is made by the farmers. Farmers sell it to the mills. So the payments actually come from the mills to the farmers who make the sugarcane. Mills make the sugar. The pricing is done by the government on the recommendations of CACP. The union government decides it. The states contribute in additional to this. And this is known as the fair and remunerative price, FRP. Okay, we're just scrolling right now. Uh, yeah, so with regards to Himachal Pradesh, the disaster during the monsoons that happened, the landslides and everything that happened. So the state government estimated a loss of rupees 9,905 crores. The center under the NDRF facility, National Disaster Relief Fund, has sanctioned only 633 crores. Uh, yeah, we can always work more on the disaster risk reduction, the coalition for, the countries working together on this thing. So that can be there. IMF is saying $5 trillion are required in the next by 2030 to deal with the issues concerning climate change. Okay. Yeah, this one criminal laws that have been amended. So IPC will be known as Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. CRPC will be known as Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, and Evidence Act is known as Bharatiya Sakshya Adhiniyam. Okay, so some improvements have been made Transgenders have been included in the definition of gender. Attempt to suicide. So previously, suicide was decriminalized by the courts. So now, attempt to commit suicide has been deleted from the IPC, which is now Bharatiya Nyaya Sahita. Right? New chapter on women and child have been introduced. So gender perspective in the law domain has been made. So all those things. Okay. Uh, statements received in electronically has been introduced in the class of definition of evidence. All those things are there. I personally believe you refer to the PRS, it will be easier to follow. Okay. So first we will do the telecom bill, then we will do the child issue, then we will do this issue, GST. The tribunal age has been increased. So first of all, telecom bill. Okay. Certain issues had come up when the telecom bill was placed in the parliament, Lok Sabha. So when this had come up, so the minister is reverting on those issues. So one issue that came up was spectrum allocation to be done via administratively, a spectrum allocation of satellite. So we are having this now open web where internet streaming will take place from satellites directly to the consumer. So this spectrum allocation will be done administratively. Normally, this is done via auction. Actually, in India's case, it is done by auction. Otherwise, the minister says worldwide it is done by administratively. Due to some technical reasons, maybe administrative convenience, it is done administratively. Right? So this is there. Now, opposition is obviously not happy with this. Why? I'll tell you why. Because the 2G scam happened. When the 2G scam happened, it came to light that administrative discretion was used to allocate spectrum to certain parties, and the center made losses. There was a potential revenue loss. Loss did not happen, but potential revenue loss up to lakhs of crores. Similar thing is happening now. Okay, so administratively it will be done. Then, for the allocation of SIM cards, KYC is required. Of course, it is good for public safety also, and then that spamming, etc. takes place. So KYC for that has to be done. So it will be regulated, SIM cards. Then, with regards to dispute resolution, there will be a 4-tier dispute resolution mechanism. I can tell you 4-tier is quite a lot actually, right? So 4-tier dispute resolution mechanism would be there. Then cybersecurity dimension has been added to the telecom bill. By the way, the telecom bill replaces the Telegraph Act. Okay, so cybersecurity has been added. Then the government to take temporary control over networks. I don't know how that works, but government will be taking temporary control over networks. Further, I think this is in the case of, let's say, violence is taking place or a possibility of communal tension. So at that time, takedowns, shutdowns can take place or restrictions can be imposed. So that government control, temporary control. Then regulatory powers of the TRAI have been defined. In fact, I believe it has been brought down for more freedom to the telecom sector. So that has been done. And the government has the powers to intercept, so tracking, etc. So that can be done in interest of the public safety. So privacy is compromised for public safety. Now some facts about the telecom sector in the recent times. Telecom sector contributes 9% of the GDP and employs 40 crore people. My God, how can that be? It employs 40 crore people. Okay. Next, average internet speed is 1.3 megabytes per second. Sorry, it used to be 1.3 megabytes per second. It is now at 40 megabytes per second. Okay. When we were in college, it was 2 megabytes per second was considered a good speed. It was on broadband. So now we feel 40 Mbps is actually a slow speed. Now we come to the next article. So the House panel on Standing Committee on Labor, Textile and Skill Development They have brought up an issue with regards to the definition of child in two laws, in two specific laws. So one is the child adolescent labor prohibition of, or we call it the Child Labor Act, and the other is the Juvenile Justice Act. So the definition of labor contradicts over here. So one defines the age of child as 14 years. Right. So age of child is 14 years, while the Juvenile Justice Act, it says that a juvenile is a person of the age of 18 years, but in certain cases, on assessment of the Juvenile Justice Board, if let's say a person of lower age is there, but has attributes of an adult, so they may be defined as an adult. So this was done during the Nirbhaya case, post Nirbhaya case, rape case that happened. Right. But again, I feel that this is two separate things. This is with regards to crime, and this one is with regards to the child labor. So what the panel is saying that we should have a uniform definition of child if we have to eliminate child labor. So in different governments, laws, etc., same definition of child should be there, so as to reduce ambiguity. Okay, and the other thing that they said was the committee desired steps to be taken for national level child tracking mechanism. National level child tracking mechanism. Okay. Now, with regards to child labor and the elimination of this, the target is 2025, and this is according to India's commitments as part of Sustainable Development Goal 8.7. Right, 8th goal, target 7. Now we can prepare a lot more on this thing on child labor, right? Today we have just this much, but more can be done and should be done. House nod to raise age limit of GST appellate tribunals for president and members. So GST, when disputes are there, so people complained, right? So so one is they go to the tribunal, then they have a complaint with the decision of the tribunal, so it can be appealed further. Okay, so the president's age is being increased from 67 years to 70 years, while that of members is being increased from 65 years to 67 years. Okay, now we move on to the editorial opinion section. This is the telecom bill, spectrum framework. We'll do it from PRS. Next, Parliament becoming a zone of conflict is not about government versus opposition. So this is with regards to the suspension of the MPs. It's an institutional crisis. Yesterday I told you, institutional crisis. Effectiveness of the Parliament is the topic that we should prepare. Effectiveness of the Parliament. Collectively, we should prepare. So we should know the roles, the works of the Parliament, despite, in addition to lawmaking, we should know. Then we should know what are the issues and then corrective measures. I have a video on that, so with lots of facts, so that you can refer to. A north-south fault line. This is from election point of view, politics point of view. So let's move to this article now. Beyond app and coaching. Yes. So I've already shared with you a handwritten note on this topic, right? So so this we will discuss now. So very briefly, the article starts first with talking about Byju's and issues with that, but the focus starts from here. The main theme actually starts from here. So the bottom line the author says is that the quality of education is declining, especially in the government schools. Why government schools? Because the government schools provide free education or a very subsidized education, and it is the bulk of the population who cannot afford education are joining over here. The poorer sections, less informed sections, they are getting education through government schools. And there is a greater preference, but because the quality outcome is less with the government school, with this thing, so there is a preference for the private sector schools. And within that also the fees can go up, very up, right? So depending on the school and the affordability of parents, that the quality of education is defined. It is you basically affecting the well-being of the poor, you're creating a class divide because of inadequate education. Okay. So poor education. So we have issues with regards to preference for private schools, more reliance on tuitions, right? So that is there. Then of course only poor can attend government schools. Now with regards to tuitions, all this is mentioned over here. Excessive burden is put on the children because beyond school they have to do this tuitions. Further that culture of competitive exams, etc. So more cost because tuitions are of course profit centric. Tuitions, coaching, etc. Cost, time, stress, mental health, and suicide. In fact, this is something that I'm actually seeing it firsthand. I'm teaching at some institute. So the push to do more and more, actually unnecessary pressure is put than what is required. So 12 students apparently have to prepare for CUET. So besides getting more marks in 12th, then they have to clear an entrance exam. So more pressure, unnecessary pressure is put. Okay, so that is there. Now, what some facts with regards to education. So the National Educational Framework for Action says that the countries have to put in at least 6% of GDP. In India's case, on an average, we are at 3% of GDP. We need to double this. In fact, this has come down in the previous budgets to 2.6% of the GDP. So this is much below what is required if you want to address the quality of education. Besides this, certain other measures can be taken. Skill base of our citizens can be utilized, for example, senior citizens, etc. So they can be engaged and they can oversee what is happening with the school system, with the government, they can collaborate. So that facilitation should be there. Then cash tools to women to work in the school domain, which is linked to the performance. So performance based incentives should be there. Then the government should come out of the business of running schools, or at least reduce it. And instead, the focus should be on audits, better auditing mechanism, and capacity creation. So that should be the focus. It can also be that a private school is run, it is strictly regulated, and they are funded by the government. So that can also be there. So their work is overseeing. If the government itself is running, the overseeing mechanism we can set, because overseeing is also government. Right, so handwritten note is there, it will help you. So that's it actually. So just scroll through it now. Economy section. Oil rate is at 76.65. Yesterday it was $76 per barrel. Dollar is stable at 83. Now RBI's monthly bulletin for December, state of economy. So state of economy is released by which agency? This can be asked in prelims. In fact, RBI related reports are often asked in the prelims exam. So this has pointed out that inflation target of 4% is far from assured because of certain issues. For example, the issue of food inflation and fuel inflation remains. More now recently I'm hearing about garlic prices are going up, right? So for some reason or the other, supply side issues, inflation risks are there. So headline inflation will continue to be higher. Okay. Fuel also, you see, this has come down, but because of that Israel Hamas issue, and we knew about this previously also, that if the violence goes beyond 14 days, it will affect the entire region, the Suez Canal and other region. In fact, now Hamas which is based, sorry, the Houthis, which are based in Yemen, they are blocking ships which are going to the Red Sea region, more so to the Israel. So the ships are now moving from another direction, from the Cape of Good Hope, south of Africa. So that route they're preferring. So the logistics costs are increasing. So of course, the fuel prices are going to go up in the time being. Right, so that is a issue that remains as such. Yeah, here it is. Global crude flows via Suez Canal fall. Oil shipments to India not impacted so far, but it may be because for other countries it has already been. In fact, the logistics cost is expected to increase by 25%. In fact, this 25% will automatically reflect in the inflation, not just for oil, but other things also. LRS is liberalized remittances scheme. That is, Indians who want their children to study abroad, or who want to get medical facility abroad, or want to travel abroad. So they transfer some money from India to other country. So that is facilitated by a scheme known as liberalized remittances scheme. So this was going a bit too much actually. So the government brought in a system of tax collection at source. So when the remittance has been done, immediately money will be deducted. So it is 20%. Previously, it was the previous policy. I mean, when it was announced recently, they said that all the payments will be 20%. Then it was changed to up to 7.5 lakhs. After that, 20% tax would be there. So no matter what, because of this, LRS outflows have dropped. Money going out of the economy has come down. We have a report on the AI, which is Future of the Skills Landscape report. It's brought in by Hero Wired, so this company, this agency, and they have raised concerns with regards to AI. They say that 82% of the 82% of the people are worried about job redundancy, which is actually the truth. So need for upskilling is there. AI training is not taking place. All those things. So you can get points for AI over here. Okay. Last page now, explained section. Donald Trump disqualified. So the elections, Donald Trump will not be there. It's something quite equivalent to what was happening with Rahul Gandhi in India. Okay, so Trump disqualified. That's it. Why we are not interested with their 14th Amendment. But what we are interested in is greenwashing, this term. Greenwashing is a practice. Should be prepared for mains. You need to define greenwashing, and then whichever way the question is asked, tail question, you should be prepared. So greenwashing is when firms or governments give a false impression that their products or activities are climate friendly or help in reducing emissions. For example, why is this in news also? So there is an airline known as KLM, which says their company is focusing on sustainable flying, and therefore people should fly responsibility, fly KLM. So environmentalists have argued that this is false advertising, as there is no environment friendly way of flying. And like with other agencies, aviation industries are also doing this. Right. So this is an example of greenwashing. So there are a number of examples. Okay. Now, what is the contribution of aviation in the pollution, global this thing? So it is 2.5% of human produced CO2 emissions. It is coming from the airlines. Next, the nature of growth. Some very interesting insights. I wouldn't have done this issue had it not been the reference of K-shaped industrial recovery. If this was not there, I wouldn't have done it at all. Okay. So long story cut short, we hear about GDP growth taking place, right? 7.6%, very good GDP growth, unexpected GDP growth. It was expected to be 6, it is 7.6, more than what was estimated. Sensex is going up disproportionately more. Now, on greater analysis of the data by Bank of Baroda, BUB researchers, it has come to light that yes, the Sensex also is going up because the corporate's balance sheets are positive. The profits have increased. Interestingly, the profits have increased at a time when the net sales have stagnated or contracting. Imagine profit is sales minus cost. Simple. Sales price minus cost price. That is profit. Sales are not growing, but profits are moving up. So because of this, Sensex is going up because companies are showing more profit. People are wanting to more investment because the prices are going up. More people are coming into and joining Sensex, the stock market. Thereby, I think there will be a decline eventually, correction. Okay, so that is the reason, and this is unjustified. Sales are going up, efficiencies cannot increase just like that. There is some problem over here. Most likely, the profit shifting has taken place. One quarter's result has shifted to another quarter. This thing has been done. Tweaking. Okay, so this is there. Now, next is K-shaped recovery has been mentioned. So, what is K-shaped recovery? I am doing this because it was asked in the mains paper with regards to the GDP growth, the nature of GDP growth, which was discussed at WK, whatever. So, K-shaped recovery is when a certain part of the GDP is growing while the other is declining. So, let's say this is IT, technology, retail is increasing while travel, entertainment, hospitality was declining during the COVID times. This is K-shaped. It looks like a K.